So hello guys, how are you doing? Please don't wonder that we are sitting in our 718 GTS 4.0, but I'm on my way to do the 100 to 200k run with this car to check out the power. But today we want to concentrate more or less on the comparison on how the new Golf R compares to the power of the old R, because you can clearly see that our model year 19 Golf 7.5 R that we will take for comparisons has 300 horsepower. Then you have more or less the Audi S3, which has 310 horsepower. And then on the other hand, we have the Golf 8R, which has 320 horsepower and also this torque splitter on the rear axle. All the cars are running on 19-inch tires, but probably the Golf 8R has the biggest disadvantage because it's running on 19-inch winter tires, which are probably not as ideal as summer tires, especially once you do the acceleration run with the drift box. So I guess let's kick it off with our Golf 7.5R Performance, model year 19, 300 horsepower. You've just seen that the car does a pretty respectful 4.6 seconds. We always knew that the car is very, very good on acceleration runs from a launch control perspective. And I think also the 12.9 seconds is quite interesting. We found out that the let's say, OPF cars are sometimes even a bit quicker because they still had 310 horsepower, but I still think something around 13 seconds is realistic for a Golf 7.5R. Yeah, so the next car that we want to look at is the 310 horsepower Audi S3 of the new model year 2021, of course. Doesn't have a torque splitter in the rear, but already has the new engine. We want to, of course, see how fast it goes. First 0 to 100 with the launch control, and then right after that 100 to 200 on the Autobahn. So let's now see how fast the S3 goes from 100 to 200. Something that we have found out, which is, let's say, quite interesting, is that we have a figure of 4.8 to 100, which is, let's say, not quite what would be expected comparing it to the old Golf 7R, for example, and also to the old S3. But on the other hand, of course, we have found out that it's meeting, let's say, the factory or what the factory is claiming. So I think maybe in better conditions, on better days, and not using the launch control 10 times in a row, the cars probably be able to go faster. Also, other car reviewers have done a faster test with their car. The number 100 to 200, what we have observed, is of course a totally different story compared to the Golf 7R in that case. That's a second more or less faster with 11.8. I think a very, very interesting figure in that case. So next off, of course, it's the Golf 8R's time. We want to now see how fast that car goes to 100 and also 100 to 200, comparing it to the 7R and the S3. So let's now see how fast the car goes from 100 to 200. that you have just seen is quite interesting, because you can clearly see that the launch control system of the Golf 8R is a lot more effective. Not a lot more effective than the, let's say, S3, but of course also compared to the previous generation. I mean, we even had this wet conditions and the acceleration time was still a lot better of the Golf 8R, so I can even believe that in the dry conditions it could be even a tenth better or so. I'm very, very impressed of that launch control system, and I think that is something that really stands out compared also to the S3. Also, the figure from 100 to 200 is again almost half a second faster than the Audi S3. So it's not only marketing or just marketing, but you can really feel the power difference of 310 to 320 if you're driving the Golf 8R, because the entire figure 100 to 200 is very impressive for a car more or less that only has 320 horsepower, significantly faster than what the previous generation Golf 7.5R was delivering. So without further talking, I will continue completing our GTS 4.0 100 to 200 run. This will of course follow in a separate video, and also of course stay tuned for the next weeks, because we are going to test the new Golf 8 GTI Club Sport, of course if everything goes well due to Corona, but we still expect the press car to arrive within the next 10 days, and therefore of course I think we will get a lot of interesting stuff and also compare that car against the Golf R, of course.